Whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster. Friedrich Nietzsche. Have you ever heard the phrase God is dead and thought it meant Nietzsche was celebrating atheism? Or maybe you've seen his name linked to nihilism, fascism, or even madness? Friedrich Nietzsche is one of the most misunderstood philosophers in history. His works were twisted, his words taken out of context, and his ideas, so radical, so profound, were reduced to mere slogans. But who was the real Nietzsche? And why do people still get him so wrong? Stay with us as we uncover the truth about the philosopher who shook the very foundations of Western thought. Nietzsche's early life, the making of a rebel. Friedrich Nietzsche was born in 1844 in a small German town. His father was a pastor and Nietzsche was expected to follow in his footsteps. But life had different plans. At just 5 years old he lost his father and soon after, his younger brother. These early tragedies planted the seeds of deep existential questioning. By his 20s, Nietzsche had already mastered classical philosophy and became a professor at an astonishingly young age, just 24. But academia couldn't contain his radical spirit. Nietzsche wanted to challenge everything, morality, religion, and even the very foundations of truth. God is dead. What did he really mean? One of Nietzsche's most famous and controversial statements is, God is dead. But what did he actually mean? He wasn't saying that a literal God had died. Instead, he saw that in the modern world people no longer truly believed in God the way they once did. Science, rationality, and modernity had eroded religious faith. But here's the twist, Nietzsche wasn't celebrating this. In fact, he feared what would come next. If traditional morality was built on belief in God, what happens when that belief disappears? What do we replace it with? This, Nietzsche believed, was the real danger, the rise of nihilism, a world without meaning or purpose. The Übermensch, a new vision for humanity. Nietzsche's answer to the crisis of meaning was the Ubermensch, often translated as the Overman or Superman. But forget the comic book version. Nietzsche's Übermensch wasn't about physical power, it was about self-overcoming, becoming a person who creates their own values instead of following the herd. Most people, Nietzsche argued, live as part of the herd mentality, blindly following traditions, authority, and social norms. The Ubermensch, on the other hand, carves their own path, lives authentically, and embraces the full potential of life. Could this be one of the reasons why his ideas were later twisted? Did Nietzsche inspire the Nazis? A common myth is that Nietzsche's philosophy inspired Nazi ideology, but the truth is far from it. Nietzsche despised nationalism, anti-Semitism, and blind obedience, values that the Nazis embraced. So how did this misunderstanding happen? The main culprit was Nietzsche's sister, Elisabeth Forster Nietzsche. After Nietzsche's death, she edited his works, removing the context and adding her own racist interpretations. She even presented his writings to Hitler. But the real Nietzsche, he warned against mob mentality, criticized the German state, and would have been disgusted by fascism. Nietzsche's final years, madness and legacy. By his late 40s, Nietzsche's health was rapidly declining. He suffered from migraines, hallucinations, and a complete mental breakdown. The man who once declared that suffering makes us stronger, ultimately succumbed to his own. In 1889 he collapsed in the streets of Turin, Italy, allegedly weeping over a beaten horse. He spent the last decade of his life in silence, cared for by his family. But his ideas, they lived on, more powerful than ever. Nietzsche's influence today. Nietzsche's philosophy shaped the 20th and 21st centuries in ways he never could have imagined. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, psychologists like Carl Jung, and even modern-day thinkers in science and technology have been influenced by his work. His call to create our own values, to overcome nihilism, and to embrace the chaos of life continues to inspire. So, what do you think? Was Nietzsche a dangerous thinker or a misunderstood genius? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into philosophy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the minds that shaped our world. Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking, and keep seeking the truth.